Alright, gonna rebuild this Tall Zaima lighter. Turn it into a pipe lighter. First thing you want to do is get you a 3mm socket set. I got this off of eBay. Take out this screw here, flame valve here. That actually screws down, holds that whole platform. Now, the first step you want to do is see this here. Okay. Actually, first thing you actually want to do is put this in here, inside the cap. That's styrofoam, because you can put a ding in that cap. I did it before on one lighter that I got. I'm just keeping it for myself, but okay. Everything comes out, all right? Just like that. Get you a screwdriver here. Loosen this one screw, appropriate size screwdriver. If I could find one. I can remember this will fit now. It's not yet. What did I use? Alright. Don't use a screwdriver small. Okay guys, don't use a small screwdriver on this stuff. You strip it out, get the exact size that you need. This one's it right here. That's on there kind of hard, so I'm going to use some pliers on this. Once you just get it loosened up a little bit, then you're fine. Alright. Alright, at this point, take the bottom. This don't have a butane in it, but I'm going to double check it anyway, because you never know about me. I might have put something in there. Test it when I first got it. Nope. Nothing in there. Alright, get you a straight screwdriver, stick in this slot here on this valve, and just unscrew it. Alright. Okay. Pay attention how this comes apart with this little spring system right. This little spring right here. And tell you what, guys, you can get a magnet. I got my magnet here somewhere. I'm trying to find it. Put that thing on a magnet, because I'll guarantee you it'll try to walk off on you. I don't know how many times I've been on my hands and knees on the floor here looking for something. It's fell on the floor. Well, I'm looking for a magnet, can't find one, but all right. inside this valve assembly, there's an O-ring that goes over this here pusher rod, is what I call it. And it's just to seal off gases that might protrude up through there. This O-ring is old and doesn't really seal around the rod here, so I usually like to use a new one on that. Alright, so what I use is I got these from O-rings and more. 0001 70 Duro O-ring. That's what I use for this. Go to O-rings and more and type in that number. And what I usually do is I stick it over this pusher rod too. The pusher rod goes up and down, you know, to close the main valve off from getting any gas through the system. Alright. So, but this O-ring has enough clearance so when you I'm going to clean that out a little bit. I don't know if it needs it, but I'm going to clean it out anyway. Need some alcohol to do that. Now, let's put that off the side. Let's get the spray bottle here. This is brand new, but still it has a little dirt in it, as you can see. So, yeah. Alright, it's clean now. And I just usually stick that back in there after I put that new O-ring on there. There we go. Now, you can see this stopper on here. Like you'll be able to see that that stopper there has a pretty good dimple in it, okay? What I usually do, these stoppers are good. They're pliable, okay? But what I usually do, like when I'm rebuilding this one here, but this has got a new one on it, even though it's old, it's pliable. I'll take that out and double check it, make sure it's pliable, not hard. And I'll just turn it around. Here's what you got. You can see that through there or not, but here's what you got. put the spring back in there. Put this in here like this. And the spring is done in here. I'll get it and put it in there. That's done. That whole area right there is done. So I'll just put that in here. Now I gotta get the internal valve out of here. If you let me see if bring it right over here, see if you can see down here. You can probably see it now. Gotta get that out. Being since the new lighter, this one will come out easily. All you gotta do is put a little bit of butane in the bottom of it. I usually hold my finger over it, the cap. That popped out. There's the wick assembly. Now the first time I did that, I didn't have that styrofoam over that, and it put a dent in the bottom of the cap because, you know, there's a lot of pressure that comes out of there, and the brass end of that valve right here just put a dent in the inside plate. So really kind of ticked me a little bit, but that was a learning experience. This is all new here, okay? But there's really only one thing you got to do here. Use that same pressure valve right here. That's the pressure valve, goes right in there like that, okay? Now I recommend if you ever have to rebuild one of these pressure valves, make sure it's as thin as the ones you put in there. And the reason that is, it'll be less, you have to turn this here to adjust the flame height. Because the more you got to turn this, if that sponge gets too thick, the harder this will get to turn. Okay, it'll make your flame adjustment harder. Now, the seal right here. It's been there so long conforming to the inside walls of this here that it's not going to seal. Alright, it's just not going to seal. And I used to replace these with one of these newer O-rings I got here. Let me bring it up here. Let's get some light down on here, maybe. Let me have a flashlight, maybe it'll work. Yeah, my light's not working. Anyway, this is what I use. Replace it with. I got it in other videos. And you can see that this one's a little wider. And I used to use the hole, but I actually cut these in half now. And the reason is, because if you don't, your flame adjustment wheel can get real hard trying to compress. I don't know if you could see it, but see how the brass part's down inside? Alright, well the brass part right here actually is what compresses. You can see the indentation of this filter right here. So the brass is what actually compresses that. And I found out just by learning that I don't need, if that O-ring there is too tight, this flame adjustment on this will get really hard to adjust. So you got to cut that ring down. Cut it in half is what I do. I got one here cut in half already, I believe. Let me look, see which one I want to use. Sometimes I burger one up. Let me look again here. I'm going to cut another one. just stick them on something like this and get you a razor blade out. And just cut it. Trim off the bottom section if anything. I think that razor blade's kind of like me. It's too sharp. I'm just going to use this. Hopefully I'll get it in there right. Nah, these are burgered up. So are these. Let's go back to the razor blade. Get you a good sharp razor blade when you're cutting these guys. And just cut it right down the middle, right down the center of it. You get it cut good and take your time. I have to use my light here. But if you get it cut good and take your time, you actually got 2 seals instead of 1, so you get doubled for the money. I'm going to rebuild. I got a bunch of Zama lighters that I'm in the process of rebuilding, and I'm going to, you know, because the one thing that I always had trouble with, and I had guys that I fixed their lighters, they've always emailed me back and say, why is the flame adjustment so freaking hard? And half the reasons I believe is I'm going to get it figured out. I'm pretty sure I got it figured out. I just haven't tested it yet. It's because of the thickness of this washer. Now, when you put that on, you're going to see a thinner piece in the middle here, okay, and the outer piece. Put the wider, put the end that's cut, put it up, okay. You see what I got here? Put the end that's cut. Well, I need to get some light up here eventually, close to the camera. Ready for it to zoom, ready for it to focus in there. Anyway, okay, now that's ready. Now when you're feeding this back in, this here's a long tank, and it's got a kind of a brace in here. It's got a hole in the center of it, so you're putting this in here. That thing's got to fall completely down in there easily. Once I get it started through the hole here anyway. Let me get it started through the top hole. There we go. Yeah, it's getting caught up down there. There we go. All right. Now, when I put these in, I always put a little bit of O-ring grease on this seal. Not a whole lot. Don't have to rub it in there. Now these Zamas, they got a, you can probably see the little black area that runs over where the gas comes out here. Well, there's a little hole on the side here. So that's not a smooth edge. So when you're putting this back, you make sure that your other end is in there straight. When you put these back, you want to kind of tilt it a little bit away from this edge over here. So I kind of put mine, I kind of tilt it a little bit and push her down. Now look in there. Looks like we're good. Didn't get no rubber seal coming up from the top. We should have a good seal on that. Alright, now I'm going to install the flame adjustment wheel. Next. Then I'm going to get this here valve assembly. Looks like the spring came off. Be careful not to lose these springs because these are really, they don't have much tension to them. You'd have to tear their lighter apart to get a replacement. Alright, so when you're putting these in too, put them in like this. You gotta put this in sideways a little bit because you don't want that spring coming out. Probably taking a chance of getting it bunched up in there. Then just, make sure that spring's on there. Yeah, it came out. Everything came out. Also, too, if you go to using a cord to make a, you go to use a cord to make a seal for the top of that because it's wore out. The one you got's wore out. Make sure that that stopper coming out of that is flush, maybe just a little bit higher. If it's too high, you'll get an erratic flame coming out of your lighter. Don't need an erratic flame. Get an erratic flame too. You can be caused by excessive air in your tank or moisture. Bleed your tank a couple times. Refill it. Try to get the air out of it. Alright. I got that tightened down. That end's done. Now I'm going to go to this end here. You know, these filler valves on these usually are good, but bought this off of eBay. This actually works just perfect for this valve here. I'm going to replace them. I mean, the internals, I replace them anyway. When you're doing this slowly and smoothly, you don't try not to burger up. Those valve teeth in there, grooves to put this in. I usually test these valves to see how they're holding, but Since I'm doing a video, I'm just going to take them out and replace them. Alright. Just take this off. The only time I recommend reusing O-rings is if you ain't got it in, you know, if you don't have a replacement for it. Let's see what I can find here for. We got some O-rings here. I just got to find which one it is. Looks like it's this one here. Yeah, Zama fill valve. That's the part number you want for. I got that on there. It's a Zama fill valve for the like these and C41, 8.5 millimeter OD. But or what it is, it's a 6 by 1 millimeter Buna 90. Now I only use 90 grade. I only use 90 grade strength. That's the hardness of the rubber. I only use 90 on the fill valves because, and you can't stretch these 90 grades very much either. So make sure when you're getting some, you got to get it as close as you can to the size you need, because these 90s don't stretch like the 70s do, and they end up breaking before you stretch them too far. You can see how that works good for that. Alright, go ahead and unscrew the base on this and poke it out. I recommend getting one of these off of eBay. These bleeders, guys, got a dual hull. One of the best tools I got. Now, this O-ring on here is really pliable. All right, it's really pliable and actually in very good shape. So I'm not going to rebuild. I'm not going to take that off. I'm going to put a little grease around it. But if you do have to replace that, I'm thinking you use the same size O-ring as I did for the internal plunger seal, okay? The 0001. And you just have to replace that, because these O-rings are kind of flat on one end. You're just going to have to kind of more of a washer. They're like contoured on one end, but they're flat on the other. So if it's good, and since this seal's never seen butane, and I'm just guessing that it's going to hold fine. Alright, put that back together. Not really going to know for sure if that seal is going to work until I get it all back together and put butane in there. Another reason I like to use Dural 90 on these filler valve, external filler valve O-rings right here is that they're a little harder, so you can crank them down a little more without deforming the O-ring as much as you would like if you did that to a 70 Duro grade O-ring. Alright, now what I do is just clean this out. And you can see there's a little dirt on there, but not a whole lot. The only reason I'm cleaning that out is just to make sure there isn't a speck of dust or rubber or something in there, or something that keep that O-ring from sealing up like it should. These are really nice pipe lighters. I like them. Smoke pipe smoker. I definitely have one of these. This one I'm actually working on here is going to a gentleman. This will be his third one he's bought off of me. He's pretty happy with the other two, and he says he wants a lifetime supply of them. And I'll tell you what, these things are easy to repair, and most pipe smokers that got quality items, you know, usually take care of their stuff, so you'll get lots of use out of this. All right, next thing I do is oh boy, running out of good butane. I think I'm out. I think so. When you're first filling these up, guys, you're going to have to bleed it and fill it, bleed it and fill it, because this is a large tank with a lot of air in it. And I'm going to use my other can of fuel. Now this is a taller can, so I want to do it offline, or off camera here. See, still a lot of air coming out. Okay. Still air coming out. All right. Still got air coming out. What is that, third or fourth time? Okay. See the liquid coming out? All right, we're getting there. All right, I'm gonna go with that for now. It's cold. Pretty cold. Okay. Yeah, no gas coming out there. So let's open this valve up a little bit until we get some gas coming out of there. There we go. All right. Now these will work a little different because they got a screw here. I was trying to think. I was trying to think. I want to leave this on low, I believe, on this one. So let me turn it down. Possibly about right there. And I want to tighten this up. Yeah. Let me get a pipe valve out. Stick it in here. A little ways. See what we got. Alright. I'm going to bleed some air out of that. And I got to, let's see here. I'm going to put a little bit more gas in here too. Yeah, there we go. That's good. And where we got gas in it. Always fill that up. Make sure we're not getting any leaks. Watch it for a little bit. You might get one bubble that might come out of that little pin. And what is you watch them like 30 seconds or so. Make sure there isn't no micro bubbles that tries to come up through around that shaft of that valve there. Looks good. Alright. When I get to that point, I just put fill cap back on. Now let me light this again. That's low. Do a little adjustment on here. Well, something's holding up the issue here. One thing I didn't do. Hold on a minute. One thing I didn't do is, I thought about it and I put it back in, but I just kind of ignored it because I thought, well, it's a new lighter. But when I took out that little main valve down there, I didn't check. And hold on, still got some air in here. Let me get this shut off here. You can see it takes quite a while to get the air evacuated out of this lighter and get it filled up right. See what we got after this one. Getting a little better. There we go. All right. Put my hand on and warm this lighter up a little bit. Nice, I need to let them sit a while. All right. Now you can see I'm getting a better flame adjustment out of this now. I still got a little bit, see how the flame's a little erratic. So I still got a little air left in there. It isn't like you gotta do this all the time, guys, all right? Alright. Now we'll push that down. That's plenty of flame right there. Look at the wheel on that too, it just works smooth. Now what we want to do is check off the off mechanism here. Great, fantastic. I'll check it again. Yeah. Now I'll turn it off. I kind of like to try to keep that screw kind of like on this end. Let me loosen it, bring that around. See if what that does for me. Yeah. The reason I like keeping on this end on a low flame is when you turn it up. The little screw right here is in the thumb wheel. Adjust it to your low flame. See, that's a low flame. See how I turn? I got the screw there. Well, if you adjust it to your low flame, you've got to turn it this way to get a high flame. So that means your screw less apt to show. All right. We're good. We're good to go. Now we're going to put everything back together. Now what I usually do too is I usually clean these up a little bit. Guys, when I use alcohol on clean these lighters up, I only use the 91%. Alright, just use the 91%. Don't use that 50 or that 70. And clean these up a little bit. You know, this wheel on these has got a little bit of a tarnish on it. It might come off during my last final polishing before I send it to the gentleman to purchase this lighter. Alright. Another thing, this is a pipe lighter. I'm using a pipe valve instead of the regular one. So there's a washer on there, but you got to get that. You have to get that timed right. Oh yeah. This is. I always like to put just a little bit of on the bottom of that when I stick this in there. All right. Okay. Now on the old valve, there's a washer. I want to stick the washer on the new pipe valve, and sometimes it doesn't time out right. What I mean by that is the hole doesn't point in the direction that you want it to when you tighten this down. So sometimes I got to take that off, that washer, and I got to file it down. And it figures. I'm going to have to time this one too. Oh, I'm going to take it back out. And I got to file that washer down. Usually when I do that, since this is a split washer, and I got to file it down, I'll have to make sure that it doesn't have the split in it, so when I file the washer down, it gets filed evenly all the way around. All right, there it is. I got more files in a little bit. Actually got a little rubber over here that it kind of sinks into as I'm pushing on the washer, so it actually holds the washer there while I'm filing it down. Well, let's try that. It's kind of just a test. You just got to file it down a little bit and stick it in and see if you can, because you don't want to turn this thing too tight and mess up your brass valve. I don't know how much pressure it could take, but yeah, it still needs to come around a little more. I want it to be just tight enough, because that's what holds that platform down. So you gotta just make sure you got it tight enough. Now, let's try it again. See what we got. Ain't always, lighter repair isn't always maybe easy like some people might think. I still need to go some more. I'm going to have to use another file now. I tried using some O-rings on there to kind of put tension, but I found out I didn't really like doing that. So I want it to be tight. I think I'm going to be pretty close right here. Ever so. And that's excellent. That's good. Now, that's maximum flame. That's probably about 1.5 inches. I don't know if it shows good on there like that, but that's a good size flame. Should you want a little bit more, turn it all the way to the right. Matter of fact, I'm just going to set it for just a little bit more. How you do is you unscrew that. That was right there. You'd unscrew that and you'd push it a little bit to the left. Which I think is good right there. Let me tighten that up. Alright, now the next thing to do is put the hinge assembly on and hinge valve stopper assembly, I should say. In case you don't know, this here little platform right here works for putting pressure on the top of that plunger to stop it, the gas flow from coming out. Alright, now here's how I do this. I just put it on like that and I'll feed it right into there on the lid, and I'll get it in this position right here like this. Then I'll get some tweezers, put it right in there in that channel, and I'll push back and feed it down into there, and there you go. Alright. That's good. Now I'll close it. Alright, stopped right there. So you gotta take this out so everything got more gas adjustment there than we need, but that's okay. It's got enough resistance in it, it's going to set okay. It's going to be just fine. Now, I usually set it on high and stick it up by my ear and open up the lid with my thumb and try to listen when the gas comes on. Yeah, it's getting up to about there for the gas comes on, so you know you're, ooh, yeah. A little adjustment high there, but that's fine. And there it is, guys. That's Zama rebuild. I think I'm going to bleed a little more air out of this before I stick it in the box. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Another rebuild. These lighters are probably some of the easiest to rebuild once you see how I got that air out there, what happens. Put an adjustment on this. I think what I'll do is, since that's really kind of high, I think I'm going to set that back a little bit. I don't want somebody accidentally putting that up there by their, send your eyebrows off. Yeah, let's set it back too far. I set it back too far. just didn't have that wheel down there like it should. Yeah, that's pretty good right there. That's a good flame. Oh, that's got a nice feel to it too. Excellent. Now, tighten that up a little bit more. There we go. All right. Excellent. Now it's just time to clean up. Tell you, these lighters, guys, I've never seen these Tall Zaima lighters. I mean, I've had Zama lighters for, I don't know, years, and I've never ever seen these Tall Zaimas before. And I thought, well, you know, pipe smokers demand they like a lot of big tank, you know, so they don't have to keep filling their lighters very often. I understand that, and I think these are the excellent remedy for that situation. Anyway, these are beautiful lighters. Okay, final step. Final step is a polish. And always do this with a glove. Now this is a brand new polishing cloth here. Look at the glisten on that thing. Ooh, yes. Beautiful. Beautiful lighter. When you're polishing, if you're doing this, make sure holding your finger over that cap right there. When you're polishing like this, hold your finger over that cap, because you want that popping open, and you know, if you got enough hard pressure on it, you could, I don't know, you don't want to mess, I don't think you'd hurt the lens or the lid, but just make sure you keep it shut. Now I'll do the top. Pretty good. There it is, Arby. Pipe lighter number 3, bud. Done and getting ready to head your way.